Hey, I thought I would get my first urban legend here. Urban legends are interesting, and they're not always urban. This one's probably a rural legend, but if you've ever watched the movie, which is one of my favorite, and you'll see me talk about it in my movies and book reviews. But Lonesome Dove. At the end of the first episode, the first big episode, leaving, you'll see young Sean gets bit by this ball of cottonmouths. Okay, wow. When I was a kid, when I was 16, 17 years old, I heard this legend about this story about this skier that got bit up at Kentucky Lake on the behind it's the backwaters of Kentucky Dam, out in the lake while he was skiing, by a ball of cottonmouths. My wife, who's the same age as I am, she heard the same story about somebody skiing at a place up at Reelfoot Lake called the Washout. Probably more believable at Reelfoot Lake if you know much about the lakes, but where people ski, man, there's not cottonmouths most of the time. You don't ski in shallow water and swamps. Cottonmouths love swampy, stagnant, unflowing water and ponds. Come on. If you do the research, you'll find out that cottonmouths don't ball up in these great big balls of snakes. Oh, come on, man. There's a few snakes that may do that. Maybe sometimes you'll see 2 or 3 snakes together when they're breeding or something like that. But you don't see this huge ball of 20, 30 cottonmouths that bite some guy to death. I challenge you, when you find an urban legend, here's the way you deal with it. You know, when somebody starts telling you about this story, oh, my friend got bit by all the, my friend knows this guy that was skiing and got bit. So you say, what's your friend's name, okay? What is your friend's name? And you get their name. And you say, what's the guy's name that got bit? Then they don't know, okay? They don't know. And then you say, well, let me talk to your friend. And then you go talk to the friend, and he tells you the same story. Well, it's a friend of mine that knows the guy. And it just keeps going on, and you'll never reach the end because it's fiction. It's totally, it's Facebook before Facebook. I even read this on Facebook the other day, this story about the ball of cottonmouths. If you talk to a real snake expert, I believe you'll find that he'll tell you, hey, cottonmouths don't ball up like that. You know, you might see 2 or 3 together, but that's it. They're kind of, they breed, they go on and do their business. They're competitive, okay? But man, I don't know. It's kind of cool. It's a cool idea. It's a neat concept, and I love Lonesome Dove. It's one of my favorite books of all time and favorite movies of all time. But man, it didn't happen. Guy might have got bit by a snake or 2, but he didn't get bit by 20 snakes. It's like, okay, cool. That's a really neat thing. So if you want to rebuke the urban legend, just start asking specific questions like, who was it that told you this? And get a name, and then go to that person and get another name. And what you'll start to find out is a lot of these urban legends that you heard. And I've heard this thing. I saw it on Facebook a few months ago. I heard it when I was 17 years old, which is a long time ago. But it's just not there. I know a lot about snakes, a lot about cottonmouths. I've seen them. As a matter of fact, just a few years ago, I read a report that said, and it's probably been 10 years because, the old mind, I'm gone. But a few years ago, TWRA published a report that said, there hadn't been a snake bite dying, a person died of a snake bite in Tennessee since like either the 40s or 50s. And a few years after that, someone died, but it was a 4-year-old girl that got bit, okay? Old people, young children. Now, they don't count. They don't count people that get bit intentionally at religious ceremonies where they get bit repeatedly by rattlesnakes. And hey, don't get me wrong. There's a species of rattlesnake out west that's venom is probably one of the most potent and strong of the hemotoxic snakes in our country, and occasionally there's a few people out in Texas that don't get medical treatment that may die from that. But your risk of getting bit by a ball of cottonmouths, man, come on, really? You believe that? That scares you? I had a ski boat. I've had 5 ski boats, as a matter of fact, over the years. I've never skied. I mean, I've skied in some fairly shallow water, but I skied all over Kentucky Lake. I haven't ever seen a cottonmouth out in the water. Every year or two, somebody will bring me a snake, say, Mr. Powers, look at this huge copperhead I've killed. And I, you know, bite my tongue and hate to tell them, but what they've killed is a banded water snake. It's not even a copperhead. So, you know, learn to identify snakes. A banded water snake, got them all over my pond. They get huge. They look a lot like a copperhead, but they're not. If you really know anything about snakes, you can tell the difference. So, hey, there's my first urban legend, Rebuked. Have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed watching.